everybody has this idea, oh, I need a job.
Mm.
Oh, I will go to investment banking. Well, what do you want to do in investment banking? Oh, I will do marketing. Well, what in marketing? Is it social media marketing? Is it content marketing? Is it SEOs? What sort of industry do you want to work for? Do you want to work for a big company? Do you want to work for a small company? There's so many different areas of that profession, and I feel like people are not specific enough. And if you're not specific enough, that kind of influences everything what you do. Because if you're not very specific about your job search, then your CV is not very specific, then your cover letter is not very specific, and I probably would say you're not going to reach interview this stage. But if you do reach the interview stage, you won't be able even to explain why you want to do this job, because you don't understand. And that's why when I work with my clients, the first thing that we need to focus is a targeted job search plan. You really need to get rid of all that noise, because if you open the job search board, like whatever you're going to use, Milkround, Target Jobs, Reed, there's so many jobs. And some people have this idea, oh, I just will apply to all of them. And they just send the same generic CV they don't even know what companies they apply. And they get called back and they're like, oh, did I apply to you? Really? Oh, okay. I don't remember. And it's just not being specific, because it's just like almost like having a GPS in your car. You need to put the actual coordinates where you want to go, what type of job you want, and work towards that. And, it doesn't have to be like, like in my coaching, some people have dreams, but sometimes people want to be more realistic. And it's a good idea to have two very clear directions. Let's say if you're not sure, they're of course not going to be something, completely opposite. One to be, an actress and another one to be an investment banker. But, sometimes it could work. But, kind of going to look for a slightly, similar career trajectories and focusing only on them and actually give it a go. And I mean, I give it a go like constantly, focusing on the job search for like 3-4 months. Looking for a job is a full-time job. Sending out, 5 applications one day, then don't do anything for a month and expect results, not going to work. And that consistency, then we can assess, is it working or is it not working? Is it not working? I mean, great, let's see what is not working, because then we know what didn't work and we can change. It's just always, I think, people are afraid to make mistakes and they're afraid to try. But by trying, you know what is not going to work and you will never make the same mistake again. So the biggest sort of, mistake or kind of misconception in a job search that, I just will get any job will do for me. Anything, just give me any job. And it just doesn't work like that. You have to be very specific of what you want.
Yeah, I love what you said. I love about the GPS. I just have a similar analogy, because so many, and I'm sure your clients are the same, so many of our prospective clients love traveling. I always say, look, you wouldn't get on a plane if you didn't know where you were going. It makes no sense. And that whole talking about failure and really drumming it in, because it can be a cultural difference, and just saying, look, failure is just feedback. Failure is just a minor redirection of just going, okay, cool. And I really enjoyed what you're saying, because that's just good coaching. It's like, that didn't work. Fantastic. So now we know more than we did yesterday. Let's adjust, and then let's do something different and see if we, because without trying, without failing, there is no knowing. Essentially, how do you not fail? Just don't try.
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. But I think it's not necessarily, this might be cultural difference, but it's also the way how we've been raised. Nobody celebrates any failures. I mean, you have to get A levels, you have to get great scores in your exams, you have to win the competition. You just, this is when your parents will say, oh, great job, we are so proud of you. Nobody's just being, there are no prizes for like participation or for, let's say, attempting to write a novel and completely failing, right? But nobody will say, well done for doing that and taking courage to actually figure out how to do it. No, you're just a failure. And we are so much under this pressure, get it right from the first time. And nobody gets it right from the first time.
Yes.
It's a myth. It's just, people who, we are so focusing on these success stories. Nobody is really talking about how hard it was for people to get where they actually are now, how many mistakes they made, how many redirections they had to do, and how many really low points in life they had when they wanted to give up. And that's what I always say to my clients, like the difference between a successful person or successful person who got a job and unsuccessful is that the successful one didn't give up.
Yes.
They failed just as many times as you did. They just kept going and going and going and going, and they got there finally.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure you'd agree with me. For every, as a coach, what you might see, say you have a nice testimonial or a nice video, and they're like, I'm so happy. Behind that, as a coach, you've seen the tears, you've had the talks, you've had the times they've just gone, do you know what, like maybe it's just not for me, and you've just kind of scooped them up a little bit and just gone, do you know what, have a bit of ice cream, put your gym jams on, and then come back and let's go again tomorrow. I'll give you the evening off to feel a little bit sorry for yourself, because it's the truth. Absolutely, they didn't give up, and also they just failed their way to success. That's what they did.
But this is so true, and I'm sure, yourself and probably your followers really know that analogy, right? How people imagine that, let's say there is a goal, that's where you are, and this is the goal, and everybody really thinks it's just a straight line, just all the way up. But it's just going up and and down, up and down, and it's just like it's a mess, and it's just and this is me. I'm 100% to admit that this is how I thought of running a successful business. It's just that you just follow the steps and you're just going to get there. No, it's just even in the same day you have so many sort of different setbacks, and you just have to constantly fight. But the key is just like when you are in the down that moment, if you have a strategy of how to deal with the sort of setback, challenge, mistake that you made, this is which will guarantee that you can go up again and you're going to continue your journey. And this is where people give up, because again, nobody is really teaching us how to deal with challenges, what to do when something goes wrong. We always aim everything is going to be fine, but something going wrong is a part of life. And we need to really sort of stop feeling about ourselves as just failures that it happened to us. But it's a part of any journey.
You can be your best friend, but also your worst enemy. And for me, I'm always I'm always striving for perfection. And actually, I feel like being an entrepreneur, I'm trying to fix that issue. Because, sometimes people say that, being a perfectionist is great because you always kind of think about these little details and you do your work as best as you can. But also it's a very damaging thought, because sometimes you're just like, I can't make it great, so I'm just not gonna do it at all. Or you're thinking that, I don't know, I don't think I'm up for it. So if you believe in yourself, if you believe that nothing, as you said, nothing wrong can happen, even if you fail, that's okay. It's still worth trying. That's the best thing. And another piece of advice is that don't always look for opportunities and wait for opportunities. You have to also create opportunities for you. Because even, as I said, I kind of failed my A-level results, so I didn't get into a Russell Group university. I still went to a good university. It was City University of London. So it wasn't the top uni, but things that I learned there and people that I've met there is just incredible. And also I know some people, my classmates, people who were in the same boat as I was. They're always complaining about the university, the university is not giving us enough resources or something. It's not good as LSE or UCL. But for me, it was great because I was creating opportunities for myself. I was going, and trying to meet lecturers. I was actually, that's how I landed like my first 2 jobs. I was a research assistant to one of my professors, and that job didn't like exist before. I just asked for it, and I'm like, I can do this and that, maybe, you know, I can be of any help for you. And they're like, yeah, that sounds good. And you know, like, because nobody had approached them, that's how I landed the opportunity. So I think, I mean, it's beneficial for anyone, not just entrepreneurs, but for entrepreneurs as well. Like, you have to have this mindset that you just, you know, even if there is nothing for you, even if it seems like you're in the worst possible scenario, like, there's still way out, and there's still like opportunities that you can create. So you just have to be, you just have to believe in yourself and do the thing that you want to do.
Yeah, fortune favours the bold.
Yeah.
And I tend to find that I'm really proud of my failures, because it makes me who I am, and it gives me this sort of understanding that really, so what? You know, like you were saying about with your grades, so what? I mean, now looking back at it, it's just a blip. It's just but it's something that's character building, that made you kind of go, that is not a standard that I am satisfied with. I wish to up my game and go to a different standard, and here you are now.
Yeah. Also, like, your failure doesn't define you. And I feel like it's a very kind of therapeutic process, imagining the worst case scenario happening, and then how do you feel? Okay, like, you failed, like, it's the worst, like, you've hit the rock bottom. Now what? Like, you still kind of find out that, like, the life goes on. And also you realize that even if, you know, like, you give a horrible presentation, you are the only person who's gonna get like obsessed over it. Like, other people would forget your failure like 5 minutes, because we are so self-observant, and like, you know, like, people don't notice if you make a mistake. Like, it's only you. And as I said, like, you can be your best friend or your worst enemy. Yeah. So if you don't focus on your own failure and you just move on, like, you learn your lesson, that's good. That's the sort of thing that gets you going.